your host, the Captain Corey Smelzer, and with me as always is Will Twinkie Welch.
What's happening, guys?
So, this week of wrestling, all my final grades are pretty mediocre. Like, they didn't break anything major except for 205, because I always like 205. But, we will get into probably a lot more rant than this one. And, but, like always, we're going to start off with wrestling news. And, there wasn't really all that much in wrestling news. But, like always, we'll let Twink take care of wrestling news.
No, you're right. There wasn't a lot, but this week is bigger than most, though. The first bit I have is Adam Cole's contract with ROH is up.
That's going to be really exciting if he comes to WWE.
Well, he did an interview this past week with ESPN. You know, their big thing is now covering pro wrestling.
I thought they were going to stop that.
No, it's just they've taken off the coach off of it.
Oh, okay.
They're still going to cover it. And as a matter of fact, if you get the ESPN app, you can get wrestling sent to your phone. Sweet. And they even do reviews of their show, although theirs doesn't go as in-depth as we do. And it's not as fun to read. Because you can listen to us and we get emotion. We get, worked up. But he came out and said, I don't want to go straight to the main roster. I want to go to NXT, build my brand with WWE. Vince supposedly loves Adam Cole. Supposedly he also loves AJ. And he kind of feels that Adam Cole is just a 12 years younger indie guy. Adam Cole's only 27.
Really? I thought he was up in his 30s.
No, he's 27, so he's the same age as me and you.
Yeah.
So, I could see him going to NXT and succeeding.
Wouldn't it be crazy, though? Wouldn't it be crazy, though, once he makes the main roster, that he goes to SmackDown, and then AJ Styles and Adam Cole team up together and compete for the tag team titles?
Or even better, what if he went to Raw and joined the club again?
They
say what you want. Say what you want. I'm a club fan.
They still need to build that. Then they have just Gallows and Anderson in the club, and then Finn hasn't really said that he's going to be in the club yet. So
no, and I'm going to get into a little bit of that this week. Another piece of news: their NXT is struggling to get talent, is what I've read. So they are starting to look at ROH, and a few names that I've heard. Leo Rush, please let that happen. I love Leo Rush. Adam Cole was another one. I've heard they've talked a little bit about Kazarian, maybe. I'd be okay with that. That could be interesting. But to me, if you start going after some of those guys, you just start looking like an Impact rejects. Or not even rejects, guys that Impact didn't necessarily want and, let go or wanted but couldn't afford.
Some of the stars that are in Impact or were in Impact, that's where they started, and they didn't get as big until they came to WWE. So if WWE can come and snatch up someone from ROH because Impact didn't want them, then that's egg on Jeff Jarrett's face.
True. Now, Dixie Carter's at the time, and right now it's more the Dixie Carter reject show. Because Dixie doesn't know how to run a company, so
she doesn't know talent.
That's true too. I read another piece of interesting news that the broken gimmick may be coming, and we got a taste of this on Monday night, so I don't want to get too much into it before we get to that match.
The thing about the broken gimmick is that it's been said that WWE is close to the buyout with TNA, but what that means is that Matt Hardy would not have creative control over the gimmick. It'll be all up to Vince. But if to be honest, I think Matt will have to go through Vince, but Vince will probably approve pretty much anything that Matt suggests.
Pretty much. I mean, the way the crowd was just over for him Monday night with the lead, or since they've been back
since
with the lead chance, yeah. So that would be awesome to see. Again, I want the broken gimmick. Just give me the broken gimmick, and I'll quit ranting. I'll quit asking for it every week.
I think if they lose the titles at Payback, then you get the Matt Hardy will start getting broken.
That would be weird. Be awesome and yet weird at the same time. Anyways, there's One more piece that I read that is very interesting to me, and I have not told you this one yet, but I read some rumors. AJ Styles was originally supposed to be part of the Superstar Shakeup and go to Raw. At the very last minute, he was pulled and traded for Bray Wyatt because Vince has fallen in love with AJ and would rather see him on SmackDown in high-level matches than on Raw.
Well, I like AJ on SmackDown. I mean, he might say that SmackDown is the house that he built, but in reality, you can't imagine AJ not on SmackDown. You can't even imagine him on Raw when the draft happened. You wanted AJ to go to SmackDown.
I wanted him on Raw.
I wanted him on SmackDown.
I wanted him on Raw with the club.
Nah.
I wanted him on SmackDown with the club.
But
Vince wants him on SmackDown, so he stayed on SmackDown. Well, ultimately, Vince gets what Vince wants. Let's just be honest.
Until he retires, but let's be honest, he's never going to retire.
He's just going to die in office, and even then, he's like the he's like the Emperor in Star Wars. They just probably have clones of him, and they just throw him in.
Vince is never going to die. He's immortal. We've already discovered this. I mean, his freaking limo exploded way back when, and he's alive still. But another piece of news, it goes out to JR. The cause of death for his wife came out because we all know that she got in a motorcycle accident, and it turned out that it was traumatic brain injury that was the ultimate cause of death.
I just feel so bad for JR with that because that happened WrestleMania weekend, and for him to come out after that and call the match the way he called it was just spectacular.
Yep, professional.
Yes.
Well, I guess that's the news. This one's a little bit longer. This one's about 5 minutes long, so that was nice. So, we'll go ahead and just roll right into ROH. Now, this is the ROH finally after Supercard.
Yes, finally after Supercard. We've been griping about it for weeks. They finally got it after Supercard, and the first thing we get, Christopher Daniels coming out.
Yep.
With a nice promo.
And I said that his promo was pretty much short and sweet. He just pretty much calls out Cody Rhodes, because if we remember back at Supercard, Cody Rhodes jumps Daniels at the end of the match.
After the match was over.
After the match was over, and pretty much that was Rhodes' call out to Daniels.
Did you hear the Rhodes Cody give nod to Stardust?
Yeah.
Something about Stardust on your face or something. I put that on
here too.
It was really funny. I enjoyed the back and forth between the two. I like how Daniels got called out by Cody a little bit about how, you don't really call the shots, you're the champion, can't you decide who you're going to face?
Yep. He says that he's not going to, Daniels wanted to fight him tonight, and Rhodes was like, no, we'll wait until War of the Worlds.
At the Hammerstein Ballroom, which there are 4 nights to that I found out today.
Really?
Just fun fact.
And so, and then...
That's night 3.
Rhodes called out pretty much the ROH champion's manhood was that if you are the champion, then you have the power to make this match.
Yes. And they kind of did. So, I think whoever wins the four-way match, Fatal 4-Way, will go into that match, and it will be Christopher Daniels versus Cody Rhodes versus the winner of that match. Please let it be Jay White. Please let it be Jay White.
So, after all that was done, we moved into match number 1, which was Lio Rush versus Notorious Shane Taylor. Now, if you don't know who Shane Taylor is, he's just this big, fat guy.
Yes.
Like Yokozuna size.
No, he's not that big.
Yeah, okay. Shrink him down a little bit.
He's Farouk when he started getting chunky size.
Sure. And so,
he kind of has a look that reminds me of Viscera.
Yeah, I can see that.
Except for Mark Henry. He's got the Mark Henry tights and the Viscera look to him.
So, I liked Colt Cabana. He was on commentary the whole night.
I love Colt on commentary.
He did a glorious remix with Notorious. While he's on commentary, Shane Taylor's nickname is Notorious, and so Cabana goes, Notorious!
That's funny. I missed that. But that was a hot start to that match when Lio Rush just smacked. The notorious one, Shane Taylor.
Rush also showed really great agility in that matchup, though. Even though it was against Taylor.
Unfortunately, he was way outmatched. So every time he would try something through the air.
He was about 400 pounds undermatched. So
it was not it was like 250.
Rush does a nice spinning DDT after the match is going on. Taylor pretty much has his way throughout most of the match. Rush does a really nice looking spinning DDT to Taylor, which I don't understand those physics. How does a 125 pound person just DDT a 500 pound person? I don't know. But
I put in my notes while watching this match. Rush is crazy good.
Yeah, he is.
And if he does go to WWE, kind of like through NXT, I think we'll see him on the main roster faster than some of the other guys we mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Simply because we can bring him up in the 205 Live division, and I would be so happy.
And so, Lio Rush takes out Caprice because Caprice got up on the apron, was doing some distraction things, and then Lio takes out Caprice. But off that distraction, Shane Taylor does a huge clothesline, then a double pump handle, slam, and then...
To me, it reminded me of Sky High.
Yeah.
It kind of does remind me of Sky High.
And then finishes off Rush for 1, 2, 3, and Shane Taylor wins.
Yeah.
Then someone came out and tried to help because Caprice and...
It was the guns.
Oh, yeah, the Detroit kids. That's right. And they got beat up, too.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I love Alex Shelley and Saban. I always want to call him Nick Saban. I know that's not right. Christopher Saban, that's it. Alex Shelley and Christopher Saban. I've always loved them. Watched them since, like I said, from the first time. I've watched them since they were really, really young guys in Impact / TNA, however you want to look at it. And I remember their feud with the Dudleys when the Dudleys first came over. And they're really good in the ring. I can't wait to see Caprice and Taylor and Kenny King get in the ring with those three guys.
Oh, yeah, that'd be actually really nice to see. So then we roll into match number 2, which is the top prospect finals, and it's against John Skyler versus Josh the Goods Woods. I have nothing good to say about this match at all, so Twink has some positive things to say.
I enjoyed the wrestling. They started out mat wrestling, which is pretty cool to see. I always love a good mat wrestling. The problem is that it was a few sloppy moves. I mean, Josh Woods is not a polished wrestler by any stretch of the imagination. So I love the fact that he has he needs work, and he just needs to be on TV, and he needs the work. There were a couple cool moves. He did an impressive knee a couple times, and a spinning knee. That was really cool.
And that's his MMA background.
Well, but it's still cool to see in a ring. The armbar countered to a knee bar was the end of the match.
That was actually pretty cool. I like that, though.
Yeah, and...
That was a smooth transition.
Josh the Goods Woods wins by tap out. But the most interesting part of this match is what happens after the match, because this guy named David Starr comes out and attacks Josh Woods.
The flying flip is David Starr.
Yeah, well, I have no idea. I've been watching wrestling for years. I have no idea who this guy is. He talks about how great he is and how he's been everywhere. But who are you?
Apparently he got a huge pop, though, when he came out on ROH. And it's like, I don't know this guy at all.
It's probably because I haven't watched ROH, like, in years past, and that's probably why we don't know him, is he's probably an older ROH guy. I mean, when we looked him up, he's been in ROH, Impact, he's been all over the place, but I've never heard of him.
Your guess is as good as mine. So, Josh the Goods Woods is now the new top prospect for ROH, which means he won the ROH contract. So now he's contracted through ROH, which I think that some of these prospects we'll probably still see them show up on ROH TV, but more likely or not, they'll just wrestle off TV because some of them are actually really good.
Yeah, the guy who John Skyler beat, I'd really love to see him more.
Mm-hmm. I forgot who that was. I wrote my notes, so I don't know what it is now. So then we move into the main event.
Well, but before that, don't forget the Cole promo.
Oh, yeah, I just passed by that. It was pretty much
interesting.
It was more of the Adam Cole begging the Bucks to forgive him and blah, 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 because he doesn't want to get beat up by Kenny Omega.
But going back to that, he is actually in the ESPN article, and we need to post it out on Facebook so people can get to it.
But I think what's going to happen, since we know that Adam Cole's contract is coming up, that when he goes and faces Kenny Omega at War of the Worlds, then Adam Cole is going to lose.
It's not been officially announced yet. That match has not been, which just blows my mind.
Well, we know it's coming, but if it happens, if and when it happens, then Adam Cole is going to lose, and then his contract expires, and he might be going to NXT in a few months afterwards.
Yeah, I think so. And the way he said it, it's like two alphas trying to exist in the same program. It's not going to happen. No. So they'll beat him up, throw him out like they do all the other guys that are in Bullet Club. Started with I always call it the Four Horsemen beatdown, because that's where it was first originated. Yep. Oh, you're getting beat out of a clan? We're going to beat you down and throw you out. So I call it the Four Horsemen beatdown treatment.
All right. So now we move into the main event, which was the
Skrull versus Kaz
TV Championship, which was Frankie Kazarian versus Marty Scurll. A lot of respect from the crowd for Scurll, though. Like, all these streamers flying in the ring, and you didn't get that for Kazarian.
No, I really think that Scurll is headed upwards on a rocket ship.
I think so, too.
He's going to rocket toward top. That was another name that was mentioned, by the way, Marty Scurll, to
that
NXT.
WWE was looking.
Yeah.
I would like that, but I don't think he'd be able to do the finger breaking thing.
Meh, let's see it anyway.
I mean, I don't know. NXT is going outside the realm of PG-13 while busting open Eric Young in a cage match.
Yeah, you don't see that anymore, and you don't see the finger breaking thing, which comes into play later in the match. I still can't figure out how he does it. Drives me nuts.
And apply a DDT to the apron from Kazarian. Looks like he tweaked something in his leg. Kazarian looks like he tweaked something in his leg when he came down.
And no adherence to the Code of Honor either.
Nope, that's true. Well, it's Skrull. He's the villain.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that wasn't going to happen.
I have something really funny that happens in this match. Marty Scurll yells, "Chicken wing!" And Kazarian looks at it and goes, "There are no chicken wings on the menu."
Yep, I remember that part too. And then later on in the match, towards the end of the match, Marty throws, I said it was cocaine, into the ref's eyes.
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be salt, but it's for the effect, and so it doesn't hurt the ref's eyes. It's more like flour.
But I said it looked like cocaine, so the ref is now tripping right now. But Kazarian hits Ace of Spades, no ref to count it. The Hangman Page comes down and pretty much distracts Kazarian. Skrull rolls up Kazarian, and 1, 2, 3. Not wait. No.
You messed that up, because Kazarian rolls up Skrull.
Yeah, Kazarian rolls up Skrull, then Skrull kicks Kazarian off
into an unprotected headshot.
Yep, into a chair that Hangman Page was holding up to the ropes.
Except he swung.
Yeah. And then Skrull rolls up Page again. Not Page. Kazarian again. 1, 2, 3. Skrull wins the match.
After that came out Matt Sydal, formerly known as Evan Bourne.
Which I loved Evan Bourne in WWE, but unfortunately he came in at the wrong time because he was pretty much a cruiserweight.
Well, it wasn't so much he came in at the wrong time. He got a health violation against him, and then after the health violation, when he came back, he got hurt, and he just never was the same. Yeah.
Well, what prompted Sydal to come down to the ring was that Skrull said that there was no competition for him.
Right.
And then Matt Sydal comes down and doesn't say anything, but...
Except I'm back in ROH, baby.
Yeah.
But I put down Matt Sydal versus Skrull for the TV title. That could be very interesting.
So the final grade I gave ROH. Like I said, everything was mediocre to me this week, except for 205. I gave the final grade of a B- to ROH.
Well, I gave them an A. I enjoyed the matches. I enjoyed the couple promos they had. I just really loved ROH this week. At least we're getting new content. That's like been our biggest beef with the last couple of weeks is no new content, and we got new content this week, so I'm not beefing so bad off of it.
Meh.
Thought it was a good show, so
I gave him a B-, so it's not like Raw, who I'll get into later, that has the worst grade of the night. And so
you gave Raw a better grade than SmackDown?
No, I gave... Oh, I might have, actually. I think I did. So, we'll move into 205 Live now.
Good show.
It was a great show. And thank goodness they finally have Rich Swann and Noam Dar finally wrestling again. So they're not doing this whole freaking, oh, you stole my lady, blah, blah, blah. And so, match number 1 was a tag team match with Rich Swann and Akira Tozawa versus Noam Dar and the Brian Kendrick.
I would love to see more of the tag team of Rich Swann and Akira Tozawa.
Oh, it was really entertaining at the beginning of the match because, they try to, Dar and Kendrick try to jump them at the beginning of the match, and then they get the upper hand. They go, Kendrick and Dar go out of the ring, and then Swann and Tozawa are yelling at each other, and they do dual suicide dives.
Tozawa did a suicide dive.
Oh, yeah, and then Swann did
a flippy move over the top.
You didn't see it, so I called it a dual suicide dive.
Yeah, he flipped over the top, did a 360 and landed on the guy.
And then Kendrick and Dar comes back in the ring, and you get dual drop kicks, and then the match finally starts.
Yep.
The match starts with Swann and Kendrick in the ring first.
Which you knew that's what... If you know anything about random thrown together tag team matches like this, you know that your first thing you're getting is you're not getting Kendrick and Tozawa, and you're not getting...
Dar and Swann.
Right.
At the beginning of the match. But, Swann, I always bash on Swann, or I don't give him a lot of credit in a ring. But, he did a really interesting... flipping leg drop onto Kendrick's head.
Yes.
And I thought that was pretty awesome looking. I was like, okay, I'll put that in my nose. That was pretty cool. Then Tozawa finally gets tagged in. Dar gets tagged in too. And so these two are going at it. Kendrick is off the apron. Something happened to them. I think Tozawa hit him. I forget. And then while Kendrick is recovering on the outside, Tozawa is able to get Dar into a sitting position and then does a huge PK kick to him.
Yep.
It was you don't see the PK hit all the time, so this was a pretty rare occasion.
Didn't that lead to the end of the match pretty much?
Well, Kendrick tries to hold onto Tozawa. Kendrick gets it back on the apron, pretty much holds Tozawa like a bully. About, hey, take a punch at him. And then Tozawa got on the way. Dar hits Kendrick, and so Tozawa then does a shiny wizard to Dar, and they win the match. Swann and Tozawa win the match.
And then comes lesson number 4.
Lesson number 4. Always choose wisely.
Yes. He went through the whole, your partner got beat.
Not a smart choice for you.
Yep.
Like I said, I think this is going to happen all the way up until lesson number 10 from Tozawa.
Yep. And it's pretty much the same thing he's teaching. He was taught, so he's just reteaching it.
So, yep. And so we move into the next match, which is why this show got a minus instead of a plus. Because what happened in this match didn't happen, I would have gave the show a plus.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. Well, Gulak finally gets what's coming to him.
Match number 2. Well, I don't want to see Gulak on my TV. That's why. And so, match number 2 is Mustafa Ali versus the premier athlete Tony Nese.
Which we've both said we both like Nese, even though he doesn't really talk.
True. I don't think he's that good on the mic. When he does talk, I don't think he's all that good on the mic, which is okay in 205.
Right.
And so, but before the match starts, Drew Gulak comes and he starts protesting the high-flying blah, blah, blah.
Kind of made me glad I was listening to it without commentary, because he was on commentary.
He's reminded me of like a diehard liberal, and it's just blah blah blah. And so like you said, Gulak joins the commentary, and I put ... I wanted to mute the TV, but you never know if I was gonna miss something, which I didn't. But what's funny is that when he got on commentating, you messed up as Drew Gulak when you're a heel and Corey Graves gets on your case.
Yes.
You messed up somewhere.
Yeah, because Corey Graves always loves the heel. It doesn't matter who it is.
Yep, he always finds a way to back him, finds the justification why it happened, and but didn't happen with this.
Yep.
And so Mustafa does a nice wheelbarrow bulldog Mustafa does a good wheelbarrow bulldog to Tony Nese, which was nice to see. And then building up momentum, you have two nice moves from Ali with a flying crossbody from the top rope, which of course gets on Gulak's nerves. And then he then does a rolling neck breaker right after that. And we've beat that horse to death about how much we like the rolling neck breaker, so we're not going to give it any more accolades, except, it's an awesome move.
Yes, it is.
And so, Nese rolls down the ring thinking he'll be safe, and Ali does a flip over the ropes onto Nese. Doesn't even go up the turnbuckles, just does a flip over the top rope and hits Nese. Ali then puts Nese back in the ring, and he's about to go for the inverted 450, and Gulak, being the stupid blue liberal that he is, because, he is from Pittsburgh, and he pulls Nese out of the ring, which then the ref calls for a DQ, giving Nese the win because it was contact on Nese. So Nese technically, quote-unquote, beat Mustafa Ali. But Drew Gulak got what was coming to him.
That was a beautiful...
Mustafa Ali came up and did a front flip onto Gulak, and Gulak was like, "Ah!" And Mustafa throws him in the ring about to beat him up some more, and then Gulak just skimmers away.
Yep, rolled out the other side of the ring and ran away like a little chicken.
Yep. Then we move into the main event, which was Gentleman Jack versus Neville. I always enjoyed this matchup, even though we've seen it about 4 times now.
At least.
But I always enjoy the matchup. You know what's coming, but you still enjoy the match because it's good ring work.
I don't know. You didn't get everything that you usually do out of it, which is a nice change of pace. It felt like a little different match this time.
Yeah. Neville. I said Gentleman Jack is dominated. He was dominated at the beginning of that match.
Yes.
Like, Neville could not mount any offense on Jack at all.
I'm glad that we're starting not to get that stupid little run toward the corner, one leg down.
Yeah.
Run toward the corner, the other leg down. I'm glad that we're starting to see that that's not all, in every match, because that got annoying after a while.
Yeah. And then Neville rolls out on the wing to recuperate from his butt whooping that he's receiving.
Is that when he grabs Winston?
Yep, that's when he grabs Winston the third, and Gentleman Jack is like, he's looking at him, and then Neville just throws Winston the third all the way to the stage, onto the top of the entrance ramp.
Yep. Yeah, it was really funny to see, because I was like, well, here he goes. We're probably going to see the Mary Poppins move. And when he grabbed it and threw it, I was like, they're not going to do that this match. But maybe. It was a nice suicide dive that he followed it with.
Maybe WWE is listening to us.
Maybe. I doubt it, though.
Maybe they just, listen to all the podcasts about pro wrestling.
I don't know. We get into that when we talk about the Universal title. You really think that since they're moving it all the way to July?
Well...
Yeah, let's not go on that rant right now. That's another day.
But, and then Neville...
Maybe they're doing that to hear us, right? Maybe they enjoy it as much as we do.
Neville then gets back in the ring with Gentleman Jack after the suicide dive, And just off of 3 strikes from Neville, Neville takes control of this match.
Yeah, Neville is a good striker. Even though he flies around a lot, he can also strike with the best of them.
Oh yeah,
that's why I don't understand why we can't have Neville not just as 205 Live, but maybe once he loses that belt, let's put him on. Get the belt off Lesnar, get the belt off Roman, put it on somebody like Finn Balor, and you imagine the match we could have with Finn Balor and Neville.
Well, that's the curse of the cruiserweights, is that once you're labeled a cruiserweight, you stay a cruiserweight. That's what it was back in the WWF days.
Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero went on to be
Dean Malenko.
Yeah, but I'm not going to Dean Malenko, but think about it like this. Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio. We know them as cruiserweight champions, but what would the generation after us say?
True, you have the undisputed champion, you have world champion, you have WWE champion.
So, you say once a cruiserweight, but you've got to start thinking about building these next stars, or you're not going to have prolonged success.
I think that's just 3 cruiserweights out of the whole cruiserweight division that came up.
La Parka Psychosis didn't deserve to be anything in WCW. Wasn't for the cruiserweights, they would have been sitting at home scratching their butts.
So, yeah, we got on a rant. I totally lost my... Well, not really a rant. It was more of a history lesson.
Counterpoint.
But, so, I lost my place. Where was I? Gentleman Jack, he tries to pick up momentum, but every time... See, now the roles have flipped. Every time that Jim and Jack tries to build momentum, Neville shuts him down.
Yep. And except, didn't he hit a headbutt on him? A couple of them.
Yeah, that was next. Jim and Jack does a beautiful drop kick to Neville, and Neville just kips up after that drop kick.
No sells. And yells at him. And Gentleman Jack looked like, you gonna yell at me?
Oh no, he drop kicked him, and Neville kips up, and he goes, not today! And then, bam!
With the headbutt. Right to the chest, and Neville just dropped backwards. That was a hilarious moment.
And then this busts Neville's lips open, and because it connected. And
I thought it looked like it connected in his mouth when he hit him with the head. Like he hit him mostly lower, but I was like, did part of that hit him? No. And I kind of glanced up for a minute. Next thing I knew, the match was over.
Well, yeah. Jim and Jack tries to get Neville, or he does get Neville into a super back suplex position, but Neville hits him on the bridge of the nose. Jim and Jack drops down. Neville then hits him again, and then pretty much after that, Neville gets off the turnbuckle, puts Jim and Jack into the Rings of Saturn, and immediately taps out. And then
there's another one we forgot. Chris Benoit.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's blackballed.
Yeah.
So...
Got the Hogan treatment.
So...
I guess Hogan got the Benoit treatment, depending on how you look at it. Anyways.
So, Neville... No celebration for Neville. Neville just does a big boot to Gentleman Jack and drags him onto the ramp and tries to put him into another Ring of Saturn, but Austin Aries comes out, hits Neville with a discus 5-arm, and then puts Neville into the last chancery until the refs come down and break it off. Which I find interesting because how come TJP didn't come down to come and help his so-called king? After Austin Aries came down.
No, that's interesting. I thought the same thing, actually. I was like, where's TJP? I thought he'd come out and try and help him, but like I said, I'm wondering if they're going to try and play this off as,
Maybe on next 205 or on Raw, we're going to see TJP be punished.
Either be punished, or I'm thinking we may not see him be punished. When you start seeing this, I'm better than you are, push for the title.
That'll be interesting. But I gave a final grade for 205 Live an A-. Like I said, if it wasn't for the whole Gulak thing, I would have gave it an A+. But A-.
What was it? I gave it an A-. It was my second favorite show of the week, behind ROH. ROH was my favorite. I love ROH. Again, could be the ROH bias, but it's okay.
So, we now go into NXT, and it was a weird start of the show. First off, I don't like the theme song at all. It doesn't make sense, doesn't flow. I don't like it. And their little graphics that they put on the theme song intro looks like a freaking comic book, and it's...
I'll be honest with you, when I saw the girl from Insanity come out the whatever, they're crazy, so I'm calling them Insanity. When I saw her come out the way she did, I actually fast-forwarded through that whole segment.
Yeah, you're lucky, because...
Somebody's got to watch it. One of the two of us does.
It was painful to watch. But,
I figured you did, so I thought I'd fast-forward.
Yeah. Weird start to NXT. Nikki Cross comes crawling/slithering into the ring. And then she slithers out of the ring, because she doesn't say nothing in the ring. She slithers out into the ring, goes to the ring announcer's side, and bends over the ring announcer and uses her microphone to call out Ruby Riott. Well, Ruby doesn't come out, and a fight starts, and they're beating each other up. Blah blah blah.
Who was it that came out?
It was Ruby.
Oh, I thought you said Ruby doesn't come out.
No, Ruby came out.
Okay, I was confused there.
Pay attention.
I swear you said doesn't.
But she came out, a fight happened, and refs are trying to break them up and all this stuff, and they're jumping all over the place, and whatever. And so it was weird. Yeah, that's it. It was just weird.
Yeah.
So, anywho, we go into match number 1, which is Cien Almas versus Drew McIntyre, which I was expecting a good match. And yet it wasn't.
I was expecting what I got.
Yep.
I'm not an Almas fan, so I was not expecting much out of it. And my favorite part is when Almas actually kind of fell asleep during this match, not going to lie. It was kind of boring.
So it's okay.
Almas did that jump into the ropes thing.
I'll have that down too.
And he got kicked in the face for it.
He got a big boot and he goes flying out of the ring. I was like,
I've been waiting on somebody to do that.
And then Almas, for some reason, even though he had the advantage on Drew McIntyre, Almas feints a double knee into the turnbuckle.
And then slaps him.
No, well, yeah. He yells and then slaps Drew. I was like...
Yeah, that was stupid.
I was like, well, I put big mistake.
That's one of those big mistakes. Big mistake.
And I was like, that was dumb. You had the advantage. Why try to taunt your opponent?
Why try to taunt Drew McIntyre anyway? His new character is not this happy-go-lucky, whatever. No, he is a beast.
Yeah, he is.
And he carry around that lead pipe in TNA.
And so, Almas tries to jump, and McIntyre catches him, and then very slowly but methodically, and it looked really nice, turned it into a power slam. Which I liked it. I mean, it was a nice move for him. And then pretty much Drew with a running flying boot. Drew wins the match. So that was it for that match. There's nothing to say about it. Later on the show, you see that Almas doesn't give a flying flip that he lost the match, and he goes out with some 6 ladies in a limo or something like that. Asked the interviewer if she wants to come too, and he just drives away. And I don't know what's going on with Almas, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's not. But again, I had to watch this with no sound, so a lot of stuff you heard, I wasn't able to because I was watching it out on my lunch break and stuff, so I couldn't listen to sound because I don't want to. I'm considerate of everyone in the lunchroom, and I don't want to make everybody listen to wrestling.
So then...
I forgot headphones, so...
We were moving to match number 2, which was Aleister Black versus Kona Reeves.
Can you really call that a match?
And I put... And...
Kick
it's
to
over.
The face.
Black mass, Black wins.
Yep, I love his finisher.
Yeah. That was the first time I saw it.
Oh, that's the first time you... Oh, that's so good.
Well, I didn't watch TakeOver.
Yeah, but he did it the next...
I didn't watch that in NXT either.
That's right, you didn't. I've seen it 4 times now. Every time it gets more impressive.
And so, yeah, but like I said, Black wins. That was all in the match. Nothing happened. And
pretty much. took us longer to talk about.
Took us longer to talk about the
finishing
match
maneuver
than it did what the match was. And so then we move into match number 3, which was Ruby Riott versus Nikki Cross. Nikki,
that was actually a match?
I said Ruby was making her way to the ring. Nikki jumps her from the back. They start fighting with each other. Boom, bada bing, bada boom, bada boom. Ruby does a nice snap suplex on the ramp to Nikki. Ruby punches out so the security guards came out again and broke up Nikki and Ruby again. And Ruby punches out a security guard. And then does a crossbody off the stage onto Nikki, which I thought was a cool spot. And then...
Once again, I thought it was recapping what happened earlier in the night, so I fast-forwarded through it.
And then Nikki gets carried out by security out of the arena. Like, literally carried out. People had all 4 of her limbs. And never mind, it wasn't a match.
Yep.
Then we move into the number... Oh, wait. My bad. William Regal tells Asuka that there's going to be a number 1 contender battle royale for the NXT Women's Championship next week to determine the number 1 contendership for the Women's Championship.
Want to put 20 on Moon?
Unless someone pops out that we don't know, because who's all in the women's division right now? You have Royce, Kay, Moon,
the 2 girls we saw last week.
Alea, Liv Morgan, and Asuka? Is that it?
Yeah.
So
let's get Awesome Kong in there.
So just 5 people. Maybe they'll bring Nia Jax back down.
One can only hope.
But that was...
I don't know. I do kind of wish she would come back down. I like seeing Asuka kick her in the face
a couple more times.
Yeah.
Just to put a smile on my face.
Yep.
And so, like we said, that's next week. Then we move into the main event, which was the UK Championship match against Tyler Bates and Jim and Jack Gallagher. Now, I did not take many notes on this because I wanted to watch this match without taking notes.
I didn't take notes because I was at work. But it was I'm impressed with Bates, but it's not the style that we see, though.
No, that's what made it really interesting, because everything...
It's more mat-based almost.
It was mat-based, and it was a lot of grappling, because they were the reversals for the reversals.
Right.
And it was really fun to watch, and then they did the test of strength, and then they flipped each other over, and then they both popped up at the same time, and it was funny.
When the ref started counting.
Yep, and it was funny because they both smiled at each other, and they got up, still holding hands, and it's not what we're used to seeing. That's what they do in the United Kingdom. That's what they do, but it's nothing that us Americans see. I mean, we're just now getting used to strong style.
Oh. Yeah, so hold on the strong style comment. Some of us have been watching strong style a little longer than others, because some of us turned the other one onto strong style.
No. The only person who turned me on the strong style was Shinsuke Nakamura.
I was telling you about New Japan before you were watching it, though.
Yeah, but then I saw Nakamura, and I was like, oh, maybe I should start watching New Japan. And then I saw that they came onto Access TV, and I was like, oh, I get that channel, so I'll watch it.
I do love me some strong style. I've loved it longer than you.
But,
Who sent you the Kenny Omega match with Okada?
Yeah, but I sent you...
You sent me the other one.
Yeah, I sent you the other one. And so, But, besides... I got ahead of myself with the matchup, but I said, thank you, NXT, for letting the champion come out last. And I'll get back onto this when we hit SmackDown. But thank you, NXT. This is 2 times in a week that you're doing something right.
I meant to point it out last week that SmackDown did it right last week. I don't know if you noticed it in the women's match, but they did have Naomi come out second in the women's match.
Well, they did, but it wasn't a championship match, so I wouldn't have cared if she came out first. It's only during championship matches that I care.
That's too funny.
But
that's too funny.
But I said I highly enjoyed I call it reversal wrestling. I didn't know what else to call it at the time. I called it reversal wrestling because that's all they were doing. Counter for counter for counter for counter for counter.
It's the way it used to be.
And I said, it's nice to see that style of wrestling because you don't see it like we were just discussing. It was there wasn't like any like major spots in the match that happened, but I said it was a very entertaining match. Tyler Bates wins ultimately and retains the title. But I said it was a very entertaining and intriguing match because you know that UK TV is coming soon, and with this just being like a small sample of it, it could turn out to be very interesting.
I'm just scared they're gonna bring in the big guy from TNA. The when I say big, I don't mean like tall. I mean like fluffy.
I'm thinking with
Do you know who I'm talking about? The one that came in with Spud.
No,
kind of bigger guy.
I can't recall him.
Wrestling. I really hope they don't bring him in. I didn't like him.
But a person that could be coming back with UK TV, maybe Wade Barrett be coming back. Just repackage him. Don't make him King Barrett. Don't make him Bad News Barrett. Even though I like the Bad News Barrett, but just
I'm afraid I've got some bad news. He's not coming back.
But to have him come back to UK TV just under as Wade Barrett, then it could work out.
I'm not a fan of.
I always liked Wade Barrett. I liked Barrett when he was the IC champion.
Can we get William Regal back in it?
He's not going to wrestle again.
Oh, come on.
But I gave NXT because of the whole stupid Nikki Cross nonsense. I gave it a B.
The show was horrible.
I gave it a B.
B minus. So the minor shows this week, so to speak. I was impressed with 2 out of the 3, so not bad. But I'm just I don't know. NXT, if they can get some more talent and get to where we can see it again, I'll be happier. But NXT for me, just I don't know. They lost Shinsuke, they lost Dillinger, which are 2 of the biggest reasons why I was watching.
Well,
and
that's the thing about NXT. We have to remember it's developmental. NXT is like college football to the NFL. You're not going to be seeing all these people on that show all the time, and then once they come up to the big leagues.
See, I don't know, man. I want to see NXT just split off and do its own thing.
Be its own entity.
Yeah, and not even be tied to WWE developmental, because there are so many guys that would be good on just that show. I mean, I think of a guy like Dolph Ziggler.
Mm-hmm.
He is not doing wonderful as a jobber, but move him down to, as you call it, developmental, and let him be with some of the younger guys and let him see how he works. Let it be its own thing. Like, you could do so much more with it than what's being done, and I just don't like the fact that, you know, they've lost all their main talent, big talent guys, and so now the main event is, you know, Bobby Roode versus Hideo Itami. Like, I like Bobby Roode, and I think he could do well on SmackDown. I think he could do well on Raw. I like Hideo Itami. But it's not Shinsuke Bobby Roode. It's not Drew McIntyre Bobby Roode. If it was Drew McIntyre, I'd be perfectly happy.
It's not Drew McIntyre, Ty Dillinger. It's not Ty Dillinger, Bobby Roode. It's not Ty Dillinger.
Yeah, but that would have been okay. I don't know. You'd have had to really build Ty. Ty wasn't really built.
It's not Ty Dillinger versus Shinsuke.
That could be on SmackDown.
But you see that, like I said last week, that Ty was pretty much the last pillar of the original, the original FCW crew. So, that you have, like I said last week, they're going to have to build up new talent, which they're going to do. It's just these kids have to get more comfortable on the mic, more fluent in the ring, and now it comes with time. You're not perfect when you first start wrestling, and you're going to get better as your career progresses.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of just sad about it.
So, with 205 NXT being done and over with. Okay, well, that's going to take care of this first part of the episode. We mentioned in the second half of this episode that we were probably going to split up this episode into 2 parts because it got so long. It came to another about an hour and 53 minutes, I think, was the total time for it. And we just decided that we're going to probably be doing that from now on, since we are long-winded and that's how we talk all the time. So, like I said, this is just the end of part 1. So if you want to listen to part 2 is going to be posted at the same time. So just go up and click on part 2 and you can continue with Raw and SmackDown. But like always, you can always catch us on... Well, before I get into that, it turned out that iHeartRadio hasn't quite approved our podcast yet, so you can't listen to us on iHeartRadio yet. But we will tell you whenever that becomes available. It said it could take up about 2 weeks to do it, and I did it last week, so maybe by the time we do the next episode, then maybe you'll be able to get us on iHeartRadio. But until then, you can still catch us on Spreaker. If you don't know how to say that, if you think we're just saying it wrong or you don't know how to spell it, it's Spreaker, and that's the app. You can also get it on the website. You can also listen to us on iTunes, Tunein, and YouTube. And also, if you have any comments, complaints, suggestions, whatevers, you can get me on Facebook at Not Quite Ringside Podcast. You can also email us at notquiteringsidepodcast@gmail.com. And you'll hear in the second episode that Twink hasn't gotten the Twitter account up yet, but when he does, you can message us or tweet us at Not Quite Ringside Podcast. So until then, I'm the Captain Corey Smelzer, and Will Twinkie Welch is not with me right now when I'm doing this outro with you guys. So I say his farewell for this episode. He'll say it in the episode 2 when we actually finish the full podcast episode. So until then, we'll see you guys. Well, if we're just going off of this one, we'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya.